You're going to die, and before that happens, you're wasting years of your life on things that don't matter.
That's not meant to be dark. It's meant to wake you up, because right now, somewhere, you're choosing distraction over growth.
You're choosing comfort over your actual dreams.
Today on Talk, Learn, Teach, we're getting real about time, and we're showing you exactly how to stop wasting it. Hey everyone, welcome to Talk, Learn, Teach. I'm Nina, and I'm so glad you're here.
I'm Marcus. Before we dive in, we want to thank you, every single one of you who listens, who shares, who supports us.
If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. This episode could genuinely change how you see your time.
And share it with someone you know, someone who's stuck, someone who feels like they're spinning their wheels.
You could be the person who helps them break free. Let's get started. Nina, I want to start with something uncomfortable. How much of your day do you actually spend on things that move you forward?
You know what? Honestly, I don't know. I'd have to guess, and that's the problem.
That's the problem. We don't even track it.
I mean, I work, I exercise sometimes, I see friends, but in between there's all this fluff.
Fluff. That's a good word for it. You know what the average person spends their time on?
What?
Social media. 3 to 4 hours a day. That's a quarter of your waking life gone.
3 hours? That's insane.
And that's just social media. Add in mindless TV, random browsing, unnecessary meetings. You're looking at half your life disappearing into nothing.
When you say it like that, it sounds devastating.
It is, because those are years, real years that could have been spent learning, creating, loving, growing.
So why do we do it? Why do we waste so much time?
Because it's easy, because it feels good in the moment, because we're afraid of what we'll have to face if we slow down.
Afraid?
Yeah, if you're busy, even with nonsense, you don't have to ask yourself if you're living the life you want.
That's deep.
And that's why this conversation matters, because once you start seeing your time as the most precious resource you have, everything changes. Let me ask you something. How many things are you doing right now that you think are important but actually aren't?
Probably most of them.
But you feel busy.
I feel exhausted, which I think is what people mistake for productive.
Explain that.
You're running around all day, checking things off a list, responding to emails, going to meetings. You feel like you're doing something, but are you actually moving closer to your goals?
Not necessarily.
Almost never, because most of what we do is reactive, not proactive. Someone else sets the agenda. Work demands your time. Messages demand your attention. Social media demands engagement.
And we're just responding to all of it.
Like puppets, and we think it's productivity, but it's just noise.
So what's the difference between being busy and being productive?
Busy is doing a lot. Productive is doing things that matter. And most of us are really, really busy, but not very productive at all.
How do you know the difference?
Ask yourself at the end of the day, did I do something that moved me toward my goals, or did I just respond to other people's demands?
That's a hard question to ask honestly.
It is, but it's the only question that matters.
You mentioned fear earlier, that we distract ourselves from uncomfortable things. Can you go deeper with that?
Sure. Have you ever noticed that when you're about to do something really important, something that matters, you suddenly feel the urge to check your phone?
Every single time.
That's not a coincidence. That's fear. You're about to do something that requires you to be vulnerable, to risk failure, to really try, and that's scary.
So you scroll instead?
You scroll instead. You watch videos instead. You reorganize your desk instead. Anything except face what's hard.
But doesn't that just delay the fear?
It delays the fear and guarantees failure, because if you don't do the thing, you definitely won't succeed at it.
So time wasting is actually self-sabotage?
Absolutely. And we do it unconsciously. We don't realize we're hiding.
How do you stop hiding?
You start noticing when you reach for a distraction. You pause and ask, what am I avoiding right now?
And then?
And then you do it anyway. Even scared, even uncertain, you do it anyway.
That's the only way forward?
It's the only way. And here's what's crazy. Once you push through that fear and do the thing, the relief is incredible. The momentum builds, and suddenly you're not wasting time anymore.
Let's talk about the specific things that steal our time. What are the biggest culprits?
Social media is number one. It's designed to be addictive, like literally engineered to keep you scrolling.
But it feels harmless.
That's the trap. It feels like you're connecting, being informed, staying up to date, but you're just comparing yourself to other people's highlight reels.
And you come away feeling worse.
And you come away feeling worse and having lost 3 hours.
What's number 2?
Unnecessary meetings. Work meetings that could have been an email, meetings with no agenda, meetings where nothing gets decided.
That's infuriating.
Right? And you can't even leave because it's mandatory.
What else?
Perfectionism. Redoing things over and over, overthinking every decision, never feeling like it's good enough.
How is that a time stealer?
Because you're spending hours on something that only needed minutes. You're letting fear of judgment make you waste time.
So the perfectionist is really just procrastinating?
Exactly. It's a fancy form of procrastination.
What else steals time?
Comparison. Scrolling through other people's lives, their accomplishments, their progress, and feeling like you're not enough.
And that paralyzes you?
It does. You see someone else's success and think, I'll never get there. So you give up before you start.
What's the last big one?
People-pleasing. Saying yes to everything, helping everyone, taking on everyone's problems, and having no time for your own life.
But doesn't that feel good to help people?
In the moment, but you end up resentful, and the people who really matter to you suffer because you're too busy helping strangers.
Let's get real about what time waste actually costs you. Not just today, but over a lifetime.
Okay, math time. You're 30, and you waste 3 hours a day. That's 21 hours a week.
That's like a full workday.
Every week. That's 52 full workdays a year, spent on nothing.
That's a month of your life, every year.
Exactly. So by the time you are 50, you've lost 2 years. 2 entire years wasted.
That hits different when you put it in years.
And here's what's worse. Those years are the years you could have been building something, learning something, becoming someone.
So it's not just lost time, it's lost potential?
It's lost potential, it's dreams unrealized. It's the version of yourself you never become because you didn't have time.
That's dark.
It is, but it needs to be. Because comfortable doesn't work. You need to see the true cost.
Is there a point where it's too late? Like, if you realize this at 50, can you recover?
You can, but you have less runway. That's why waking up now matters so much.
So the younger you are, the more urgent this becomes.
And the older you are, the more important it is to stop wasting immediately.
Okay, so someone's listening and they're terrified. They realize they've wasted so much time. What do they do?
First step, awareness. You have to see the problem before you can fix it.
How do you build that awareness?
Track your time for 1 week. I mean, really track it. Every activity, how long you spent.
That sounds tedious.
It is, and it's revealing. Most people are shocked at what they find.
Then what?
Categorize everything. Work, health, relationships, personal growth, and everything else.
And look for patterns?
Yeah, see where your time actually goes. Compare that to where you want it to go.
And it's probably very different.
Drastically different. And that gap is where change starts.
What's the next step?
Define what matters. Get really clear on your top 3 to 5 things. Not vague like family, specific like date night with my partner weekly or finish my novel.
Make it concrete?
Yes, vague doesn't work. You need specific targets.
And then?
Protect that time. Schedule it. Defend it. Treat it like the most important meeting of your life.
Even if nothing happens, you still do it.
Especially if nothing happens. You're building the habit. You're showing yourself it matters.
What comes after?
Start saying no to everything else. No to overtime that doesn't matter. No to social plans you don't want to attend. No to being available 24/7.
People won't like that.
Some won't, and that's their problem. They'll adjust, and the people who really matter to you will respect it.
Is there a final step?
Ruthlessly eliminate time wasters. Delete the apps if you have to. Don't check email until noon. Put your phone in another room. Make it inconvenient to distract yourself.
So once you've reclaimed your time, what do you do with it?
That's where growth happens. And growth isn't some vague thing. It's learnable, teachable.
Walk me through it.
Start with one area. Let's say you want to write a book. Most people think they need to write for 8 hours a day.
That's impossible if you have a job.
Exactly. So instead, write for 30 minutes, every single day.
Is 30 minutes enough?
It seems small, right? But 30 minutes a day is 182.5 hours a year. That's multiple books.
Oh, wow. So small consistency beats sporadic effort.
Absolutely. Small consistency is everything.
What's the formula exactly?
Pick your goal, break it into small daily actions, do it every day. That's it.
And doesn't it get boring?
It does. But boredom is where growth happens. Boredom is where discipline develops.
And discipline is what separates people who dream from people who do.
Yes, the gap between dreamers and doers is just daily action.
Any tips for staying consistent?
Track it. Mark off each day. See the chain growing. Don't break the chain.
That simple?
That's simple and incredibly powerful.
But real talk. There will be days you don't want to do it. What then?
There absolutely will be, and that's when commitment matters.
You just push through?
You just push through. You don't negotiate with yourself. You've already made the decision.
But doesn't that feel like punishment?
At first, but then something shifts. You realize you're stronger than your moods, and that changes you.
How so?
Once you've proven to yourself that you can do something even when you don't feel like it, you stop believing your excuses.
That's powerful.
It is, because most of life is doing things you don't feel like doing, so that skill is huge.
What if someone keeps failing, keeps breaking the chain?
Then they need to make the commitment smaller, or they need to address the real resistance underneath.
What resistance?
Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of being seen, something underneath that's making them sabotage.
How do you address that?
You get honest. You ask yourself what you're really afraid of, and you feel it anyway.
That sounds hard.
It is, but it's the only way through.
Something interesting happens when you start growing, right? It's not just about the specific goal.
No, it's cascading. You start writing, and suddenly you have discipline. That discipline bleeds into your diet, your fitness, your relationships.
So one area of growth affects everything?
Everything. Because it all starts with you believing you can change.
And once you've proven it in one area?
You believe it everywhere.
So the book you write isn't really about the book.
The book is just the vehicle. What you're really doing is building yourself into someone who follows through.
That's the real transformation?
That's the real transformation. And that transformation makes everything else possible.
Do you have an example?
I do. I had a friend who committed to running a mile every day. Not to get fit, just to prove she could commit.
And?
After 3 months, her whole life had changed. She'd started a side business, her relationship improved, she'd applied for a promotion, everything.
Just from running a mile?
No, from proving to herself that she could do what she said she would do. That belief transferred everywhere.
That's beautiful.
It is, and it's available to anyone willing to commit.
Why do people stop, even when they're seeing progress?
They get comfortable, or they achieve the initial goal and think they're done.
But growth is continuous.
Continuous. There's no finish line. You're either growing or shrinking.
That sounds exhausting.
It sounds that way, but it's actually the opposite. Stagnation is exhausting. Growth gives you energy.
How?
Because you're engaged, you have purpose, you're moving forward. That feels good.
But there are plateaus, right?
Absolutely. And that's where people quit. They don't see results for a while and think it's not working.
But it's just the plateau?
It's just part of the process. If you stick with it, you break through.
So quitting during the plateau is the worst time to quit.
It's the exact wrong time. You're so close.
So let's say someone's been doing this for a year. They've reclaimed their time, they're growing. What's next?
They start creating the life they actually want, not the life they defaulted into.
How do they do that?
By asking better questions. Not how do I get through the day, but what kind of life do I want to build?
And then?
And then they protect that vision. They make decisions based on that vision. They spend time in alignment with that vision.
And time stops feeling scarce?
Time never stops being finite, but it starts feeling purposeful, and that's everything.
Is this something anyone can do?
Anyone. It doesn't require money or talent or special abilities. It requires decision and commitment.
And awareness.
And awareness, which is why today matters. Today you become aware, and everything changes from here.
Before we wrap up, what do you want people to really hear?
That time is the only non-renewable resource you have. You can make more money, you can find another job, but you can't make more time.
So how should they treat it?
Like it's sacred, like every hour is a gift, like they're never getting today back.
That sounds like it could be depressing.
Or it could be liberating, because when you realize how precious it is, you stop wasting it on things that don't matter.
You make different choices?
You make radically different choices.
Any final thought?
Yes. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can go back to how you were living, or you can commit to change. And the change starts with protecting your time.
That's it?
That's it. The rest follows.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to think about this.
This isn't an easy conversation, but it's an important one.
Before you leave, we want to remind you to subscribe to Talk, Learn, Teach.
Hit that subscribe button. New episodes every week on topics that matter.
And please comment below. Tell us your story.
What time are you wasting that you want to reclaim?
What do you want to build but you're afraid to start?
What's one small daily action you're going to commit to this week?
We read every comment. Your stories inspire us. They help us create better content.
And it might inspire someone else who's reading. Your honesty could change someone's life.
Thank you for that power. Thank you for using it.
Until next time, protect your time. Invest in your growth. Build the life you actually want.
We'll see you on Talk, Learn, Teach.
Keep learning, keep growing, keep becoming.
Bye for now.